boy Bobcat. Okay, so I'm going to highlight a heads-up match that I played against somebody. And I don't know, is there any way to just make this go a little bit faster for the first part? Because it's not that interesting. I kind of am card dead for a little bit. Anyway, so not the first hand. That's pretty good for heads up to flop that. I decided to check for deception and I guess pot control if he does have a better ace. Because I put him on as a fishy player, but I wasn't exactly sure how fishy quite yet. So after the turn flop checks through, I definitely think it's time to bet for value. Unfortunately, he very quickly ends up letting it go, so maybe he's not as fishy as I thought he was, at least post-flop. 7-2. Really not that much to say about this particular hand. I think we can Bobcat Biscuit. Oh my God, my cat's jumping up on me again, so he wants attention. There, that's something to talk about, right? That's something to talk about. You might be wondering, like, why don't you just bluff at this? Well, people at these stakes just make calls with weird crap all the time. Although there is the benefit of maybe you could get them to call lighter when you actually have it later on if you bluff. I don't know. I just don't like to bluff because, like, see, again, he limped ace king. Who knows? He might have found some excuse to call. And right now I'm thinking, okay, let me show you how to really play ace king. And then he does that, which he hadn't done at all before in the time that I'd been playing against him. He had not gone all in pre-flop at all. So right there, I end up actually folding ace king pretty deep. I don't have that much invested. And my thought is, if he doesn't raise ace king, what the hell does he raise? And what the heck is ace king ahead of when he does raise? That was my thought at the particular juncture. So we'll never know if that was a good fold, but I kind of like to think it was. Bobcat, stop going after the Ritz crackers. So anyways, king, queen, this time he ends up calling again. My read again is he calls too much pre-flop, so I want to charge his draws and like make him pay. And fish oftentimes don't change their ways post-flop. You know, it's I guess some do. Some of them are like, oh, well, I'll call really wide pre-flop and then I'll fold really wide post-flop. But I don't see any reason not to charge somebody with top pair regardless. It is top pair, after all. Heads up, that's a very strong hand. It almost certainly is the best hand a lot of the time. Now, I remember saying this is not a good card. So I end up quickly checking it back, and it's a good thing I did. Not that I would have called an all-in or anything, but that happens. And that pissed me off, because it's like, what the heck? I finally get top pair, and I finally have a decent hand, and you do that to me? Like, Jack forehand annoys me too. And I'm moving the mouse a bit because I want to make sure that the screensaver does not come on and cancel the recording again. Let me just make sure I'm actually recording too. Like, there's not much to comment on in this particular hand. Yeah, it's recording. Bobcat Biscuit. Yeah, and I was mad because I'm like, come on, really? He's dominated and you give him what he needs to win. When do I win? Well, pretty soon, actually. Doesn't start out very well. Really don't get a lot to go with on the flop. I mean, it's just a showdown hand if I've ever saw one. That's what I take it for. Then that happens. That's pretty good for heads up. It's pretty good regardless. Definitely think if action checks to me, I should be betting, and he indeed does. So I go for pot, trying to get him to call, and unfortunately, he takes his sweet time, but he does end up folding, which is irritating. It's like, but at least I won a pot. Now, this is a really weird hand, and I don't know why he played it like this. I never expected him to have this. So, really nothing for me. I don't really feel like bluffing when I have no piece of it. Turn showdown value, check, check. River doesn't change anything, check, check. Maybe I'm good. Oh, no, I'm not. set of aces and he snap checks it back like 3 times. I really don't understand the logic behind that at all. So next hand I get king jack and I flop top pair. Decide to go for some value. I decide to bet up because like to charge him in case he's being fishy and makes the call. Really not that many draws to protect on that board. King 7-2 is a pretty dry board. There's the heart draw, but like that's unlikely that he actually has that. So again, I bet a little bit. I bet like maybe 3/4 pot. No, not quite that. Maybe I don't know what the fraction is. The set of aces hand was still fresh in my mind, so I can understand why I check back river. Like if he's gonna just check a set of aces, I really don't. No, like I mean, again, he could have like anything there, and I would be losing. So I flop middle pair in this next hand. Decide to go for some value protection. Doesn't seem very interested, but he does call. And I think this is definitely too weak to bet again. He called with nothing. No pair, no draw. I guess there technically was a pair on the board, but you get what I'm saying. Clearly, this guy has some fishy tendencies. If he's not going to bet a set of aces, if he's going to call raises with 7-3 when I haven't been raising a whole lot, if he's going to defend with no chance of catching up against third pair, basically. Again, fresh in my mind. This time I pot it. Trying to charge his draws, trying to get him to pay. And got lucky there to outdraw the ace too. So again, if you can see my strategy is it's kind of just whittle this guy down over time and hope that I can eventually build up some profits off of him. As it stands, I'm probably I think I was down for the session at this particular moment in time, but I'm definitely I might have to edit that part out. So really not that much to say about this hand. Again, if the guy's going to call like bets with no pair, no draw, I don't really see any reason to bluff. But I do see a reason to bet if I am checked to now that I've turned second pair. I guess I decided to check it back. It's fine. I think what it was something about the way that he checked made me think, oh well, maybe he has something, and then I proceed to call anyways. But he did have some. He had ace king, but again, he didn't raise it. I don't really understand the logic behind how this guy's playing. Like ace king is a monster. I don't know why you're not betting it. I probably could have bet this flop, and I don't think that would have been a bad thing. I bobcat. And again, I probably could have gone for some value on the river. Thin value, but value nonetheless. I think I messed it up. Okay, bobcat not on the keyboard. Maybe I should have raised the king 7 too. Not when I get flops like that. Okay, bobcat. Wait till I'm done recording, please. I can give you tensions then. And at this point, I'm just kind of hoping that I can show down the best hand here. Nope. Top pair, and he doesn't even bet it. Top pair and a straight draw on the turn, and he doesn't bet it. This guy is. I really don't know how you word it any other way than he's not playing very well. And I'm trying to like exploit my play to adjust to this. I think things start to finally get a bit more interesting pretty soon. Like so far, and then, I mean, this is the reality of heads up poker. Is like there's a lot of times where nobody really has anything, and the pots aren't that big. So I think it's important to highlight that, and if you're not always playing a big pot, it doesn't necessarily mean you're doing anything wrong. Yeah, I remember this. I turned top pair, and if he's going to call, I decided to try to get some value out of him. And at this point, I think I'm starting to pick up on the fact that he's pretty loose, so I decide to go for some more value with a weak kicker. Unfortunately, he folds, or maybe fortunately, depending on what he had. Premium flop for a premium hand, I have to say. Now, I think I could have maybe tried to bluff this, but again, the guy just doesn't fold. Who knows? He might have called. And as it stands, we get a lucky split pot, but unfortunately, we still lose a cent to rake. I think this is where things start to really get interesting in this particular heads up match. So, again, I'm trying to punish him again because he overcalls pre-flop raises. He called with 7-3 before, so clearly the guy doesn't really give a crap about what he has pre-flop. That flop is disgusting. He called, there was a hand he called where I had ace king and he called with like ace 10 high and no draw before on a flop versus a flop continuation bet. So I don't really see any reason to bluff this against someone like that. He'll call with his ace 10s and stuff, his ace queens, and he'll fold anything better. Unfortunately, he basically just shoves the river and I have to fold. So that chips me down a little bit. Flop a flush draw. I decide to go for the semi-bluff, and he quickly calls. And I'm thinking, just please give me the flush one time. No. I just give up on it, and he pots it. And unfortunately, on a paired board, I think that's going to have to just be a fold. This is annoying, too, about heads up, is like you can feel like you're making progress, and a couple bad hands happen, and suddenly you're backsliding a bit. That was a lot of progress that I just lost there because I just wasn't catching anything. Losing raised pots definitely adds up over time. And at this point, I think he's starting to get more active, and I'm starting to pick up on this. I flop top pair again, and I'm not going to be dissuaded from him. Still have top pair, and he doesn't go too big, so I end up calling again. And I think I'm starting to pick up on the fact that he's going a little bit out of line. And yeah, so right there, I make my progress right back. This one is interesting. So because he has that habit of shoving all in, my hope was in this particular one that I could call and backdoor a flush and take him down and tilt him. But a king on the turn works well too, especially with how aggressive he's been on the past couple hands. I don't see any reason to fold this. And just like that, we are now above $8 for the first time. I think he shoves again this one. Yeah, obviously can't call with 8 high. But I'm getting the vibe that he's starting to do this a little bit out of line. And there he goes again. Who knows what he had, but I'm guessing 6-4 probably wasn't doing too well against it. I guess I was afraid he'd shove again. And he does shove again, I believe, if I recall correctly. Yeah, so basically he's gone all in at some point during the past 3 hands. I'm starting to get the vibe that he's getting a little bit bored or tilted. So if I can catch something, I'm going to probably call him lighter than I would have before. Pot it with the top pair. He quickly calls. That's a really good turn card. That's a turn. Pot it again, trying to protect against draws. River completes the backdoor flush, but when he does shove again, I just call anyways because he's been so active. And yeah, take him down, and he leaves the table in frustration. And that's how quickly heads up hands can change. But that's a heads up match for you. I think I played it pretty well. I tried to exploit his weaknesses. I was card dead for the beginning, so it was really difficult to make any progress. But once I started building up momentum and started tilting him, it really, because again, he definitely was on tilt towards the end there. And once he started tilting, it just was a matter of finally getting that one hand that I could take him down. I probably would have taken the rest of his money if he'd have stayed at the table given enough time, but he didn't. But hey, I ended up way up overall in that heads up session. I more than doubled my money, so I'm happy.